The other night, Mercedes and I sat down with Sage to watch the opening ceremony.
We're so excited.
She's 8 years old, right? And she's at the time of her life, she starts to remember these things. And we were super excited about it. And what we saw at the opening ceremony absolutely blew our mind.
Why, you ask? Would an RV channel cover this topic? Because somebody has to speak up. We need to start having these conversations, not being afraid to say our opinion, whether they're popular or not.
Yeah, RVing is great, right? Freedom, independence, and adventure. But the world's on fire, and somebody has to say something.
Exactly. So for me, the Olympics is an even playing field on a global stage. It's this idea that anybody, whether you're from the remotest rural location in Kansas, or maybe you're at the heart of the city in Queens, if you've got that God-given talent, you could win gold. And it's so hopeful and it's so inspiring, and the youthfulness, right? I mean, I bet those kids don't wake up with pain in the morning.
Well, it used to be all about the kids and youth all over the world. And then they started moving professional athletes into the sport in the 1970s and 80s, which kind of dumbed it down a little bit.
And then they started sprinkling the politics in it, which dumbed it down even further.
And we've both grown up with this every single year. When I was a little kid, I used to sit down with my parents.
If we post replays of the Olympic opening ceremony, the network will actually copyright infringe us. They're going against fair use. They're trying to scrub it because it's been so controversial. They've lost so much money in sponsorship.
Yes.
But there's this old saying, you can't stuff the you-know-what back in the cow. And so it's like, you can't undo what's been done. It's already done.
Yeah, the Olympics are wiping all of it. The news stations are wiping all of it. Google's wiping all of it. Facebook's wiping all of it like it never, ever happened. Well, it did happen.
So let's discuss, why was the Olympic opening ceremony so problematic? Because keep in mind that if you just had one of these elements, it would be a little maybe you like it, maybe you don't. But when you combine all of this together, that's where it's crystal clear what's going on here. So let's start with symbolism. For example, the golden calf. You could have made any animal gold. You could have had a golden chicken, but no, you had to have a golden calf. Okay, we'll just ignore that one. Let's talk about the horseman. What is it called?
The fourth horseman from Revelations running across the water.
Yeah, that's weird. Okay, now let's talk about the Last Supper, the trans Last Supper. And now, mind you, I am so open to artistic interpretation. Not everyone is going to agree on what is art.
Be as immoral as you want to. Just be immoral in your place, not out in public.
But the trans Last Supper was something I really would have expected to see at a New York City drag queen show. It was not something that you expect to see on a global stage.
And of course, they had to throw some kids in there in the dancing.
Well, and with an audience that you could have all ages, anywhere from 70 to 7 years old. It just wasn't appropriate for that stage. And it was really blatant. This wasn't a Salvador Dali depiction of the Last Supper or a Picasso that it was abstract but creative. This was disrespectful.
A spit in your face, Christians all over the world.
And then let's talk Marie Antoinette, controversial figure. Did you really have to show her decapitated? Like, really? And so when you take all of these different elements
all the
together,
symbolism and all that.
It's basically a platter of caca, and they're like, look, it's art, but it's not. And it's so unfortunate because France has such a beautiful, rich history.
Not anymore, they don't.
And it's really sad.
Disgusting, degenerate, demonic, are a few of the words that I can think of. We're going to talk about a few different things in this video that no one else will talk about. But I think my main point is, why isn't anybody surprised? You know what? Nobody should be surprised about this. Sorry, guys, we got some rain coming in here, but we're going to do the very best we can.
You know what's really sad about all of this is that instead of focusing on the Olympics, on the athletes, on the kids that have trained so hard in order to compete, this only happens once every 4 years. So a lot of these kids will only have one Olympics that they can go to, right?
It's always about them.
It's about things that don't matter. It's the exact opposite of what the Olympics was created for.
And the funniest thing happened, right? People are calling for Christians to fight back, to stand up. You know, even including Elon Musk. You guys got to go get him.
But
that's not what we do.
Well, if you kind of look at the book, unfortunately, that's not kind of what you're supposed to do.
We are to love, turn the other cheek, to forgive people, right?
Yeah.
That's the Christian faith. And then what happened in Paris? The lights went out. And you had a bunch of Christians all over the city praying. A revival broke out last night in
Yeah.
certain parts of Paris. Why? Because we don't have to fight.
That's how Christians fight.
That's how Christians fight. Everything else work itself out. God fights my battles for me. I do the best I can to help his other children as best I can live the life that I know he wants me to lead, because he left a long book on how he did that.
They wrote it down.
Our jobs as Christians is to humble ourselves, to ask for forgiveness, to forgive people, and to pray.
Which totally stinks. No, because when something like this happens and you get mad, right? Because it's not fair, it's disrespectful, it's just not acceptable. And then you get mad because those poor athletes, they did nothing wrong. They don't deserve this. A
Those
lot
poor
of these
kids.
kids are only going to get one shot at the Olympics. It's
Yeah.
only once every 4 years.
But the big corporations and anybody with the cultural, the cultural
Agenda,
war
yeah.
agenda, it's always got to be about them. And is it going to stop? I don't think so. I think it's going to get worse. And what's crazy is the value proposition for the Christian faith is if you become Christian, right?
Life
if you
will be hard.
Jesus Christ into your heart, life's going to get hard.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to get curveballs. People will hate you. People will scoff at you. People will lie about you. You are going to be attacked. But you will get everlasting life. And 2.5 billion people across this planet
Yeah.
chose
Everlasting life.
everlasting
No,
life.
Think this point through. Most marketing says if you buy this beer, you'll get the girl. Life will be grand. You'll have tons of money and you'll get everything you want. The value proposition of the Christian faith is the exact opposite of that.
It is the opposite of that. And especially one of the things we've noticed in the last year is, once we come out and we talked about our faith, man, the attacks, if you guys follow us, you know what those attacks have looked like. But we still are doing the very best we can. A lot of people ask, why do you guys make these types of videos? You're in the RV space. And
Because we're gluttons for punishment.
yeah, man. And as soon as you do videos like this, the attacks will start flying.
Poke your head out.
Yeah, you poke your head out. But honest to God, you guys, our obedience is to always God first. In discernment, I get these polls that we got to say something, because we do have an audience. We do have 24 million views. And so our obedience will always be to God first, my family second, community third, RV Odd Squad, and we'll see you in the next video.